Hello again. Welcome to my class. This is your teacher Sandra, and today we are going to study Unit 12, Part 2. For this reason, I want you to remember we are going to study in this part. In the last class, we studied reported speech. Today, we are going to study hypothetical conditionals with present and future requests and offers. In the vocabulary section, we are going to remember film movies, suffixes, and collocations. In the reading part, read a magazine article about writing a blockbuster, read a magazine article about the internet fame, and read a test about personal assistance. In the listening comprehension, we are going to listen to people make a request and watch an extra from a documentary about Lewis Hamilton. In the speaking part, we will talk about being famous, make requests and offers, and talk about your ambitions. And in the writing part, we will write about a famous person and write about your childhood ambitions. Now, in this part, we are going to remember how or what a hypothetical conditional is. Hypothetical conditional is a conditional that we use to talk about an imaginary situation in the present or future with a consequence. And now we are going to have, we use if plus past simple plus would or wouldn't plus infinity to form a hypothetical conditional. This is a structure. We need to use have plus past simple, and the condition or the consequence or result is with would or wouldn't plus infinitive. For example, if I had more money, the result or the consequence would be I would buy a car. If I wanted a job, I would look for one, and if I were famous, I wouldn't be happy. Now, if I knew the way to the museum, I will tell you. It means that you don't know the way to the museum. If I won the lottery, I would never work again. It means that I am very unlikely to win the lottery. It is an imaginary situation. We use would and it is often contracted. For example, I'd, you'd, he'd, we'd, and they. Would not is contracted, or the contracted way of would not is wouldn't. If we had more money, we'd buy a bigger house. We wouldn't live in the city if we didn't need to. It is possible to change the order of the clauses. Notice that is there's a comma after if clause in the first example but not a comma in the second example. Example, if we had children, our lives would be very different. Our life would be very different if we had children. With this verb or the verb to be, it is possible to use were instead of was. For example, if I were a lawyer, he would tell you what to do. If I were if you want to give an advice. For example, if I were you, I tell him your plans and don't use was. It is possible to use could. If I could sing, I would start a band. Now let's look at some examples. So listen to 8 people answering the questions. Put the number of the speaker next to the thing they mention. So we have different jobs, and please go on page 176 to read the transcription. Go ahead.
Unit 12. Recording S12.4. 1.
If I could be famous for anything, it would be art. I love painting. And if I had more time, I would love to paint seriously. If I could have a painting in a museum, I'd be really happy.
2.
I'd be a famous politician. If I were a politician, I would try to change the world, to stop all these wars and do something to help poor countries. You know, I think it's terrible how most politicians don't seem to worry about things like that.
3.
If I could do anything, I think I'd be a famous soccer player or something like that. Imagine if you scored a goal for your country in the World Cup. That would be such a good feeling. You would remember something like that forever.
4,
I'd love to sing. If I could be famous for anything, I think I'd be a singer or a dancer. I'd love to be a famous dancer. I'm terrible at both of those things. I can't sing or dance. I guess that's why we have dreams, isn't it?
5,
I would love to be a famous writer or poet, like Shakespeare. I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to write a book that people all around the world want to read, to be able to speak to people in that way. Yes, I'd like to be remembered as a great writer. But I don't think that'll happen.
6,
If I could be famous for anything, well, let me see. For being beautiful. That would be good. One of those beautiful actresses who wins at the Oscars. If I were famous, I would be rich, live in a big house, and have all those clothes. Oh, yes, that would be nice.
7,
If I could be famous for anything, it would be for inventing something, like a medicine or a cure for cancer. Not for being an actor or a musician. If I invented something that made people's lives better, that would be good.
8,
What would I want to be famous for? I wouldn't like to be famous. If I were famous, I wouldn't be happy. No, I prefer just being me, thank you.
All right, after listening to people talking about what would they like to be famous for, we need to put a number next to the word. Number one, an artist. Number two, a politician. Number three, a soccer player or a footballer. Number four, a singer or a dancer. Number five, a writer. Number six, an actress. Number seven, a scientist or inventor. And number eight, a successful in business. Next, in the next exercise, you need to listen again and complete the sentences. Number one, if I had more time, I would love to paint. Number two, if I were a politician, I would try to change the world. Number three, imagine if you could score a goal for your country in the World Cup. That would be such a good feeling. Number four, I love to sing. If I could be famous for anything, I think I'd be a singer. Number five, I like to be remembered as a great writer. Number six, if I were famous, I would be rich, live in a big house, and I have all those clothes. Seven, if I invented something that made people's life better, that would be good. And number eight, if I were famous, I wouldn't be happy. In exercise B, you need to discuss, do you agree with any of these speakers? A, I think I like to be a model. And B, really, I wouldn't. Now in exercise 7, you need to underline the correct alternative. So, you need to underline the correct alternative. Example 1, if I were a famous soccer player, I would live in a big house. Number 2, if she worked harder, I'm sure she'd be more successful. 3, if I did more sport, I would feel better. Number 4, if I had the day off, I would stay in bed. If I didn't work or study, I would be bored. And 6, I would read more if I didn't have a TV. 7, I would use my bicycle more if I didn't have a car. In exercise 6A, sorry, you need to use a prompt to make questions with the hypothetical conditions. So you have always an example in order to give you an idea of what to do. If I had no money, what would you do? Number 2, if you could have dinner with any two living people, whom or who would you choose? Number 3, if you could do any job, what would you do? 4, if you had more time, what would you do? 5. If you could change one thing about yourself, what would you change? And, and in this part, you need to read as well in order to practice hypothetical conditionals. Now, in the next exercise, you need to put the sentences in the correct paragraph to complete the profile of Jack Monroe. We have 4 exercises, and Jack grew up in Texas and left school aged 16. Jack is now a successful journalist who campaigns against poverty. Jack Monroe was 24 years old mother of one of who started writing an online blog, a girl called Jack, when she was unemployed and looking for work. And she told almost everything she owned, car, watch, TV, phone, in order to buy enough food for her and 2-year-old son to eat. But she found they were still hungry. Now you need to read this paragraph and complete which of these statements are or belong to each paragraph. In the next exercise, you need to correct the correct heading for each paragraph. Achievement, rise to fame, childhood and education, and introduction. In the first paragraph, you can find an introduction. In the second paragraph, you can find childhood and education. In the third paragraph, you will find rise to fame and number and fourth paragraph achievement. And we have a tip, speak up tip. Each paragraph should have a different topic. The first sentence of each paragraph or the topic sentence should introduce the paragraph plan. The paragraph and plan the topic of the paragraph before you start writing. This is a very good way to start writing, and you can pick a biography of someone famous in order to start writing. Now, in the vocabulary, we are going to study a collocation, but I want you to let you know what a collocation is. A collocation is a combination of words for when 2 or more words are often used together in a way that sounds correct. In this book or in this unit, you need to work in pairs and complete phrases from 1 to 6 by adding the correct letters. Number 1, get tickets for a concert or a good seat. Number 2, rent a car for the day or rent a car for a holiday, home, or for a vacation. Number 3, book a table or reserve a table for 2, tickets for a show. Number 4, invite someone to dinner or invite someone to a party. Number 5, recommend somewhere good to visit or recommend a restaurant. Number 6, organize a private tour or organize a meal. Remember, this is a British version and you can find organize with C. Next, the recommendation is to look at photos for 8C and which of these things in exercise 1A can you see? You need to discuss how often do you do these things in exercise 1. Example, I sometimes get tickets for a concert. The last concert I saw was, and you can mention the person or the famous person. In the last function or grammar section, we learn how to make requests and offers. So we have a chart, how to make a request, how to respond, and how to offer. Request, I like to. Would it be possible to? Would you be able to? Could you recommend? Yes, these are some responses. No problem, certainly. Yes, of course. And how do you make offers? Would you like me to? Do you want me to? Or do you want me to get? Shall. And shall is a future condition or a future auxiliary that you use only with 2 personal pronouns, with I and we. Now let's see some examples. I want you to recommend to work on page 122 and 175 in order to listen, request, and offer. So pay attention.
Unit 12. Recording S12.5. Conversation 1.
Hello.
Hello.
How can I help you?
I'd like to go to a local restaurant. Maybe something with traditional food. Could you recommend somewhere?
Yes, of course. Hang on. We have a list on a map.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so here's the hotel. And if you want to walk, you can go to this one here.
Okay.
This is a reasonably priced restaurant that serves mainly
Conversation 2.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Fine, thanks. What can I do for you?
I read that there's a local market in the area. Is it a food?
The food market. Yes, it's a bit of a walk. Maybe 30 minutes?
Oh, that far?
Would you like me to call a taxi? It's about a 5-minute drive.
That would be wonderful.
Okay, just a moment. I'll see if there's one waiting.
Thank you very much.
Conversation 3.
Good morning.
Morning. I forgot my adapter for the laptop. It's from the United States. Would it be possible to borrow one from the hotel?
An adapter plug? Of course. Do you want me to send one up to your room?
Yes, please.
Can you give me a moment? I'll ask at the front desk. It's just for a laptop?
Yeah, that's right. A US laptop. I just forgot the adapter.
Okay, no problem. What's your room number?
14.
Room 14. Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Conversation 4.
Hello.
Hello.
How can I help you?
I want to see a show this evening. Cats.
Oh, yes, cats.
Would you be able to reserve 2 tickets for us?
Hold on. Let me just check where it's playing. Okay, here we are. Yes, should I reserve the tickets for you? Do you have any preference about the seats?
Any seats? 2 together.
2 together, yes. Okay, and it starts at 7 o'clock, so you should have plenty of time. And if you'll just wait here while I...
After listening to 4 conversations, you need to complete the sentences with one word. 1. I'd like to go to a local restaurant. 2. Could you recommend somewhere? 3. Would you like me to call a taxi? 4. Would it be possible to borrow one from the hotel? 5. Do you want me to send one up to your room? 6. Would you be able to book 2 tickets for us? And 6, would I book the tickets for you? In exercise C, you need to look at the sentences from 1 to 7 again and answer the questions. 1, which phrases are requests? You put an R, and which are an offer? You put an O. B, which requests say what we want to do? C, which requests ask if something is it possible? And C, which requests ask for someone's opinion? If you want to review the language bank or the function, you go on page 150. Next, what do we have here? We need to practice requests and offers. Exercise 4, put the words in the correct order to make questions or sentences. And I'm going to try. Number 1, I like to try some local food. 2, could you recommend a good nightclub? 3, would you be able to book 3 tickets? 4, would it be possible to rent a car? 5, shall I buy your ticket or will? 6, do you want me to book a table? 7, would you like me to call the manager? And remember, we use shall when it is the very formal. In exercise B, you need to match a question from 1 to 7 about the responses from A to G. So these are the answers about the requests and offers. Now, in the next part, we are going to listen or complete the sentences in any way you choose. So listen this transcription, you want to go on page 176 to listen.
Unit 12. Recording S12.6.
1.
Could you recommend a restaurant?
2.
Would you be able to book a table for me?
3.
Would it be possible to rent a car?
4.
Could you recommend somewhere to visit?
Now in this part, in exercise B, you need to read your sentences and practice exercise A and B. Could you recommend a good cafe? Yes, go to the cafe on the bridge. It serves great coffee. Do you want me to take you there? Next, we are going to see the preview of the video Lewis Hamilton, a Billion Dollar Man. Billion Dollar Man is a BBC documentary about Formula One, F1 driver, and celebrity Lewis Hamilton. The program describes Hamilton's early life in the UK and how he used his talent to become one of the best and most famous drivers in the world. According to this, I sent you the video in order to watch as many times as you could in order to answer the questions. Next, after watching the video, you need to speak out dreams and ambitions. Listen to Mariana talking about her dreams and ambitions and tick or check the answers. Where did she grow up? When you were younger, did you dream of doing a particular job? What or who inspired you to do this? Did you have any teacher, someone to help you to learn a special skill? And had you achieved any of your dreams? What did you do? So page 176 to listen to the record and answer, of course, these questions.
Unit 12. Recording S12.7.
Okay, after listening to this record, you need to answer these questions. So this is important for you to listen and try to read aloud in order to improve your fluency and your vocabulary. So this is important to keep in mind the assignments for this unit. And I want you to remember again, practice, 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 because practice makes perfect. For your attention, thank you very much, and I hope that this unit would be very useful. Thank you so much, and bye bye.